was one of my favorite songs from the Cydia Duodecim Final Fantasy. I'm not very crazy about Final Fantasy 3, but yeah, that was one of the best songs ever. Welcome back to another episode of Sleepy Hollow, the missing episodes. Last time, Team Witness has actually ventured through the Lust Ring, aka the first ring of incontinence, but they haven't found Ichabod's soul yet. So they must continue their quest to retrieve his soul and treachery. And they're going to set foot into the next ring of incontinence, known as Gluttony. And I should warn you, again, this is suggestive, and if you guys are very sensitive to the disgusting material, I suggest you leave now. Alright, here we are. Chapter 13, Gluttony. Team Witness had finally descended to the second ring of incontinence, Gluttony. Gavin and Laura were carrying her mom while Jenny and Alex were holding Jake on their shoulders. They stopped to take a short breather as their weight was wearing them down. What these shades could not satisfy in life, in death they shall be denied for eternity. According to Dante, gluttony was a form of divine love for sustenance, perverted into an obsession with food to the point of waste, which is why it is only designated as the third circle rather than a lower one. In this one are those who were punished for overindulgence in food, drink, and addictions in the living world, placing such things above all things, including their fellow man. As a result, they are forced to slosh around forever in the vile muck that makes up most of the circle. On the hard ground they saw numerous people running around the endless fields that supplied food for plenty. Most of the damned were fat, and they were starving as they were grabbing and stuffing themselves in handfuls. As they were scoffing down the scraps, they were being chased by a hungry, disgusting worm possessing 3 heads. Great landscapes made of living organs, mud, piles of human waste, and giant gorger worms with insatiable appetites were ever present. There was also a plain that looked like an eerily dark ear of corn with deformed husks, ejecting manure as it flew. The stench was so massive that it made the unconscious noses twitch. Ugh, what are those things? Alex observed large worm-like beasts drag the panic down. Those are the gluttony worms. They're huge worms that burrow into the landscapes of filth. They feast on the souls that are trapped in the circle with them. They rip apart their carcasses and corpses that litter the ground along with the organs and waste laid here. If an unwary victim moves close to its burrow, which is almost impossible to see, it instantly rises up and attempts to devour it. They're actually servants of this big bad, Cerberus. Amongst the fat people filling themselves with the endless scraps of leftover food and escaping Cerberus while stampeding over their lord bodies, Gavin and Jenny realized one of the damned. He was wearing a chef's hat and apparel. Jenny, I know. He was the chef, the fat pig that used to be employed at the Lennox house for the mentally insane in Vermont. He must be one of the recent souls that ended up here. I didn't know he actually died. They saw him get caught in one of the Cerberus's long maws. He screamed in agony as he was being swallowed down his humongous middle gullet. Everyone shielded their eyes in the process. Ugh! You really think Crane is in there? The next circle of hell resides within the beast. There's no other way around it. Jesus. We gotta go inside this thing? We have to. I think I know a way to enter it without being devoured into chunks. She summarized the plan as the Cerberus continued to feed on more damned souls with its other mouths. They were combing the putrid landscapes fairly well. Gavin was the first to confront the Cerberus while his team stayed put. Yo, Cerb! Don't you know that swallowing certain souls is bad for you? The beast stomped over toward him. His body was trembling and he turned and tried to run while trudging through the immense mud made from organic waste. He was gagging all the while until he was grabbed and picked up. Just like a T-Rex claiming its prey, He was swallowed down Cerberus's gullet without any resistance. It was all according to plan. Okay, let's do it. While Gavin inspects the inside, we'll distract Cerberus and give him his own medicine. I hope he has a strong stomach. Although his close friends highly doubted it, still they believed that he was the one to allow them entrance to Hell's next circle safely without falling prey and permanently be bound to this one. Gavin fell into Cerberus's massive chamber located in the abdomen where he saw many more demons. On the contrary, the stench was so bad that his eyes kept on watering and burning from the endless waste they were sloshing around in. He actually upchucked when the inevitable odor reached his senses. A few of the victims were just begging to be free, as it was known to be the main residence in the Gluttony ring, since there was no escape, nor shades were showing their lavish, inhumane appetites. There was even parts of them that exited their bodies, such as bones and eyeballs. Gavin tried his very best to hold his own. Amongst the endless shits, synapses, and disturbing acts of excessiveness, he recognized one of the recent victims. His wide load and clothes were intact compared to the more decaying broken ones. Done in a white shirt, dark green pants. Ha! Peter Griffin's on here, people! Ha! Could never be more appropriate. And he can pause here for that. Ha! Peter Griffin is in Gluttony inside the Cerberus. Ha ha! Another middle finger to Fox and Family Guy. Serves him right. I wish him dead. Gavin looked around and noticed the chamber was lit at the left side. He sloshed his way toward it as he covered from the lower chest down. Eventually saw a massive living pile made out of the abhorrent material. His eyes and teeth were in a dark yellow as it kept on tossing some portions toward the damned that attempted to run away. It even drowned a huge number of them like a tidal wave. Gavin hurriedly pressed on, following the light. Meanwhile, the six made groups of two. Jenny went with Laura, Jake stuck with Alex, while Diana stood alone. They each focused on the Cerberus's maws, and by the time it noticed its new meals, the gang split up and threw pieces at it. While the mouths opened, they each loaded an excessive amount and stuck it in them, making the beast stunned from the excrement and piss surrounding it. They were lucky they never lost their dinner. They rinsed and repeated the process while Gavin was strategizing to get to the next ring. As he climbed onto a hill made of soft tissue, Gavin observed its black heart. For a moment he hesitated, thinking that his friends couldn't possibly hold off Cerberus for long. Hearing roars and moaning as the damned ran to him, he drew out his demon slayer and slashed them all. After he was temporarily clear, Gavin stabbed the heart beating with black blood that seemed like ancient sewage, making him cough hard as he was covering his mouth. Outside, Cerberus was wailing and staggering in intense pain, and soon enough, the center maw reeled back and regurgitated Gavin into the air. Dropped to a nearby slump of wasted food, immediately brushed himself off and rinsed himself using the endless rain, spread out his arms and he soaked in the downpour, met the others as they rushed to him. Gavin! Ugh, now I know how Dufferenson feels, coming up clean often after he crawled through tons of filth. This truly is the sensation of freedom. The reunion was short-lived. Like a volcano erupting, Cerberus unleashed a flowing river of blood. Ferocity was so great that it took the team toward a precipice. They fell along with a slippery, rapid runoff as it cascaded to the next ring below. So much for the Gluttony Circle, which was tough as lust. It took as long as this one, about 2 to 3 days to write it. Poop Ship was a disgusting shout-out to Drawn Together the movie, which I never watched, and never will. Again, from Phantom Strider's top 10 worst cartoons of all time. And that one was number 3! Pile of Waste inside Cerberus was a reference to the Great Mighty Pooh from Conker's Bad Fur Day. Also, this one doesn't talk nor sing, just loves to smother its victims from its own embodiment. The Hall of Gluttons was eliminated as it was difficult to describe, so too the movie removed it. And here are the songs. Originally I was going to include Homer Simpson, but I was contradicting myself. In the end, I decided to leave him out as he's seen as a doofus and hot-headed, but sometimes redeemable, like in the Simpsons movie. Though they disregarded it, they retconned that. Bastards. Besides, his Family Guy counterpart Peter Griffin is far, far worse. Speaking of whom, never liked him except, in the Star Wars trilogy. You can pause here if you want. Ugh, God damn it, Peter. Haven't gotten to Brian yet, but it serves him right. And there's the cook from Sucker Punch. 3 down, 6 to go. Tune in next time if you guys are ready for more. We're only a third way through. Ugh. Well, that's it for now. This is the Ecron Rider signing out.